slaves in certain parts of the United States didn't know they were freed. And then when you look at the whole mentality of oppression, showed up again in Jim Crow and all of that terrible part of our history. I mean, you just can't tell me that that's something to be celebrated. That was just an awful time for all of us. And it's still there in some sense of the word. When you talk about redlining, when you're looking at the eruption of protests, and you see, when you look at that mentally, for people to go out, and I said it last week, then bad, for people to go out and protest in the middle of a pandemic that at that point in time had killed over 100,000 people, tells you the level of hurt and pain and anger and frustration that people were feeling. I don't care how you try to spin that.
Right. Yeah, there's, you're right. I mean, that was your perfect storm that you talked about. People
yes.
Being jammed up, just sitting, people who ordinarily may not watch the news are watching it. And all of a sudden you've got all of this other stuff happening. But, you can just hope that, things go. Phil talks about being able to tell folks the truth. And he also I should have asked him when I had him on here. He made mention of being, he talked about a difference between being mad and angry. And I've always used those terms together, but I know Phil has something on there. So, I want to ask him about that next week when we talk.
That's right.
But get angry. My assumption is that anger, you get mad and then you kind of get over it. When you're angry, you get mad, you feel a little something, and then it settles down. But when you're angry, there's a little bit of rage in there, and there's something.
Sure, absolutely.
You can wait out your madness, but your anger,
correct.
It has a little passion to it. But you're right, and folks are like, they had enough, and people have had enough. And I don't know whether some of the white folks are feeling the heat or seeing the light, but it doesn't really matter as long as they're on board and staying on board. And it's been a history of that, throughout the years. There was, Reverend James Reeb, there was Viola Luzo back in the 60s. There's always been people who have paid the ultimate price, white folks who've paid the ultimate price for some of the stuff that, for trying to make sure that Black Lives Matter, even before Black Lives Matter was a movement. And it's going to take all of us if we want this America to be what
sure.
America is supposed to be.
Sure.
What it was written up to be. Granted, I know there are folks out there saying, what, they had us at 3/5 of a person. I get all that, but now we got to move to the next phase of that, and it's going to take us to lead it, and we're going to have to demand, that we be treated equally.
Yeah.
Finally, but it's clearly it's meeting with some, it's going to be a fight, but it's going to be a fight that everybody's got to get in. And you got to believe in it.
Exactly. And we'll pick this up on our next show, then, Bad. But, not only are we fighting externally, we have to deal with the demons internally. Over the weekend, Chicago had 14 people killed and over 100 shot. So there's so many different things that our community has to work on, and we're going to have to multitask. We've got to get on our members in our house who are not doing those things. We have opportunities for school, so we have to get involved in the schools. Parents, no matter where the school system is, Chicago Public Schools, Alaska Public Schools, or wherever, you have to get involved. We have to make sure that those schools are providing those young people with the same opportunities for a productive learning environment. whatever it's taking in Chicago, building businesses, building opportunities, doing, mentoring. Now we can say, the opportunities, maybe some opportunities aren't there. They aren't developing here and they aren't doing that. But you can certainly take 5 minutes and talk to the kids on your block.
Right.
That's some of the low hanging fruit that we can grab as a community until we are able to get those things, those other opportunities, those housing opportunities and the like. But the low-hanging fruit, voting, mentoring, being a father, being a mother, where even if you work 2 jobs, that 10 minutes or 5 minutes that you do get to see your kids, make it valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's low-hanging fruit. So it is time to run these battles on a parallel path, taking care of the internal things and dealing with the external things.
Right. Got it, Chief. You got it. So next week we're gonna see what's going on. We're gonna hope that the world stays, still with regard to pain and suffering, and maybe it shakes a little with regard to some of what's going on the electoral front.
Yes, sir.
And what we're doing with this movement. This movement can't stop.
No,
we've got to continue on, and we're hoping that happens. That we've got to continue this. As Phil said, outlets like these, folks out there who are listening, who maybe have their own shows, folks out there who maybe are thinking about starting their show.
That's right.
You gotta do it and get in somewhere, some way. And if this isn't your front, some people protest, some people talk, some people write, some people act, some people, serve in other ways, volunteer, do things, mentor. Whatever you're doing, we've got to continue it. It's going to take everybody and everybody's gift, and everybody's got a gift. And now's the time to kind of pull it all together. And if you got something going, hit us up, hit Chief up, hit me up. You can find us on Facebook, and let us know what you're doing, and maybe we'll give you a call and shout you out and figure out what's happening. What are you doing? What are you doing that's going to make this thing different?
There it is.
Yeah, that's what we can do. But until that time, we thank you for letting us kind of. Today we didn't push any particular envelope. We were just trying to think this thing out. This is the kind of stuff that we do. Chief and I will talk during the week, and we'll just say, what are we going to talk about? And sometimes when we get at a place like this where we really don't have anything to talk about, we kind of just say, forget it. It's too much. It's too depressing. We got too much happening. We're trying to work on 2 coasts here. But this time we would hang in here and just kind of process as we're going through. And so next week we'll have something in line for you. And every now and then we're going to do this where we kind of just call, just kind of run over some things, and if people are available, they'll call us up and we'll let them tell us what the heck's going on, what they're thinking about. But we appreciate the time with you, Phil, and we always appreciate you. Phil is like our ghost host.
Yes, sir.
He's always there and has been in the fight for a minute. And maybe I can get a reporter from the Fayetteville area to come talk to us maybe about what's going on down there.
Let's do it.
Because this thing is all over the place. Little cities, big
Correct.
cities, folks are doing what they can. But Chief?
Yes, sir.
We're going to go ahead and call it for this week, and we want to tell the folks to thank you for
Yes, sir.
listening to us, and thank you for allowing us to give it to you like we do always.
Straight, no chaser. Bye. You've been listening to Straight, No Chaser. So join us next week for more hot topics. And also, you can always catch us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, iHeartRadio.